Hereafter we have created a job that automatically verifies our backups. I want to talk about pruning and garbage collection in this video. Also to maintenance tasks, and for these it's also possible to create jobs that are executed automatically. As far as pruning is concerned, we can specify how many backups we want to keep, so we can configure a retention policy, and garbage collection is used to delete unused chunks of our backups. So it helps us to free up some disk space. But yeah, let's just switch to the web interface and check how we can configure that. So I will switch to the corresponding data store within the Proxmox backup server web interface. And first of all, within the content section, we can see how many backups are available. So here in my test environment, for most systems, only one backup and two backups for the container with the ID 102 and the VM with the ID 106. Yeah, and for pruning and garbage collection, there's this dedicated section. And maybe let's start with the pruning. So as you can see, by default there's no prune job, but of course we can add such a prune job by clicking on the add button. And here it's possible to specify how many backups we want to keep. For example, the backups of the last 6 weeks, 2 years, and so on and so forth. Or we can keep a specific number of backups. For example, to demonstrate the pruning, I will only keep one backup per system. Furthermore, we can also configure the prune schedule. So by default the pruning runs every hour, but we can also change that if we want. So in that case, every hour is checked if there is more than one backup per system, and if yes, it is deleted. In addition, we can also specify a comment if we want, or specify a fixed job ID. If not, a job ID is assigned automatically. Yeah, and basically that's about it, and we can add this job. Here it's then possible to edit this job if we want, or to remove it. And we can also start it now. As we can see, the job was completed very quickly. So I can now switch to the content section. Yeah, and after refreshing via the reload button, we see that there's also just one backup for this container and this VM. Before the pruning process, there were two backups. So one backup was deleted because of the pruning and the retention policy that we specified. So just as expected. Maybe it is also important to mention that we can also specify a backup retention policy within Proxmox VE. So here on the data center level in the backup section, I can edit this backup job that is using Proxmox backup server. And here's this retention tab. But as you can see, that is not synced. It's a separate setting. And even if no retention policy is configured here, it is possible that it was configured within Proxmox backup server. Yeah, and when we switch to the official documentation of Proxmox backup server, there's a section about maintenance tasks and also about pruning and garbage collection. And when we scroll down a bit, there's a link to a prune simulator. So if you have complex requirements, you can also use this simulator to check if your settings will have the intended effect, and you can use this calendar to check when your backups are deleted. Yeah, and after switching back to Proxmox backup server and to the content section, we can also see that these two backups have the verify state none, but since we have already created a verified job, these backups will be checked according to the configured schedule. Or of course, it's also possible to manually start the verify process. Okay, but what about the garbage collection? As you can see here, I've already configured a garbage collection job that runs daily. By default there's no such job, so no schedule, but it's very easy to create one. Just click on the edit button and choose the schedule that fits your requirements. Then we can also see some statistics, like how much data was removed, and also when the job will be executed the next time. And in addition, it's also possible to start the job manually by clicking on the Run Now button, and after a short wait, we see that the task was completed without any issues, and in that case no garbage and no chunks were removed, so there were no unused data blocks that could be deleted. So yeah, we can also see that here within the statistics. So in addition to our verified jobs that we have configured to check if our backup data is intact, we have now also configured pruning and garbage collection so that unused data chunks are deleted automatically, and also backups that we don't want to keep anymore according to our retention policy. And of course, in a production environment, it can also make sense to combine that with notifications. And as we have seen in the video about the verified jobs, everything but successful pruned jobs is routed to mail to root by default. So if we have configured an email address for the root account, also with the default settings, we will get a notification about garbage collection jobs, and also if a failure occurs as far as prune jobs are concerned. So yeah, that is basically it for these two maintenance tasks that can help you to gain some disk space automatically.